Cough Syrup and Conquer. Unlocking the Secret Life Lessons Hidden in Drowsy Hallucinations by Zaliel S. Morpheus.
Copyright at Zaliel S. Morpheus. All rights reserved. No part of this publication may be reproduced, stored, or transmitted by any form or means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, scanning, or otherwise without written permission from the author. It is illegal to copy this book, post it to a website, or distribute it by any means without permission. This book is entire a work of fiction. The names, characters, and incidents portrayed in it are the work of the author's imagination. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, events or localities is entirely coincidental. First edition 2024. Published by bookbyanyone.com. Note from author, this book is not written by me, it is AI generated. Chapter 2 Shadowed Reflections. The Mirror of Madness. The Mirror of Madness. A fitting name for murky reflections that bounce off the glassy surface of our subconscious, distorting every conceivable thought and feeling into an otherworldly spectrum of confusion. You might be thinking, Zaliel, are you hinting at something philosophical, or did you fall into the cough syrup again? Well, my dear reader, it's a delightful mixture of both. Here, in the ginormous hall of my mental gallery, the minds of ordinary people hang, and trust me, it's a carnival of lunacy. Imagine standing before this vast mirror, where every flicker of self-doubt manifests as a cartoonish caricature of yourself. One moment, you are a valiant knight in shining loungewear, while the next, you're a potato wearing a wizard hat. It's an extraordinary portrayal of the human psyche, revealing truths that we often prefer to dust under the rug or maybe eat with a side of ketchup. You see, our minds are seasoned with a copious amount of madness, and in the realm of the psychological horror, the ridiculous lurks just around the corner, ready to spring forth like an overly enthusiastic jack in the box. Now let's talk about those whispers you hear in the back of your mind, the sweet nothings of lunacy that remind you of fleshy reminders of the mundane. They dance around your thoughts like intoxicated party guests pulling at your self-esteem like an overzealous child at a piñata party. You're not good enough. You'll never measure up, they all chant like an off-key choir in a haunted church. Standing before this mirror of madness allows us to confront those loud voices and understand that they're just echoes of our insecurities. So what if the world has decided I'm half a sandwich short of a picnic? I still have my cough syrup, and by Jove, it's an elixir that brings forth creativity in unexpected ways. In this peculiar realm, one must ask the most audacious question: what is self-perception, if not a running commentary provided on a loop by a particularly sassy inner critic? It's the classic case of I think therefore I am, except that my I goes around wearing mismatched socks and a top hat at midnight, leading to some truly absurd conclusions about existence. Why do we measure ourselves against societal tick boxes? As if life were a game of bingo played by invisible people, my best friends, mind you, in a hidden lounge. What we often forget is that our reflection is warped like a funhouse mirror at a carnival, and that distressing image cannot define our worth. And let's not skip over the concept of normalcy, that elusive creature we chase with the same fervor one has while pursuing a rogue sock in the dryer. The veil of normalcy wraps our perceptions tightly, like a moth entombed in a glass case at a museum of peculiarities. Behind that facade lurks uncharted territory, a place where your quirks shine like a disco ball in a dimly lit basement party. Dancing varieties of human experiences and emotions can't be displayed under a single label, yet we strut along trying to navigate the complicated dance floor of societal expectations. As we peer deeper into this swirling abyss of reflections, it dawns on us that the slapstick nature of madness lies in its absurdity. Who knew facing the intricacies of our subconscious could be this entertaining? The balmy laughter of our idiosyncrasies echoes through the chamber, unveiling how those odd little quirks, like talking to invisible friends or furiously debating with the reflection over who's the real Zaliel, are the seasoning of life, transforming drudgery into a multifaceted comedy that deserves a standing ovation. So, as we look into this mirror of madness, let us embrace the hilarity of our peculiarities rather than shy away from them. For in this tete-a-tete between our true selves and the caricatures reflected back at us, we not only unlock the hidden truths tucked beneath the fog of anxiety, but also rediscover the very essence that makes us intrinsically and beautifully unique. And remember, surviving the clutches of the drowsy hallucinations is nothing short of a hilarious adventure, a true roller coaster of a ride through the unexplored territories of our minds. Secrets beneath the surface. Ah, secrets, those cheeky little gremlins that lurk beneath the surface of our daily lives, waiting for the perfect moments to pop their heads up like enthusiastic whack-a-mole contestants. Perhaps you've had a day at work that felt like a sitcom episode gone awry, where your coworker mistakenly assigns you to the office gossip task force. Little do they know, however, that your true ability is deciphering the babbling stream of nonsense that flows just beneath the layers of polite small talk. Armed with cough syrup and an unparalleled sense of humor, I, Zaliel S. Morpheus, am about to dive headfirst into the depths of sparkling secrets, ready to explore their quirkiness with unbridled enthusiasm. When we think of secrets, we often picture rogue agents in dark suits during a high-stakes espionage thriller. But leave your spy movie clichés at the door. I assure you that the secrets we unearth beneath our polished exteriors resemble more of a circus act combined with slapstick comedy. Do you recall that awkward pause during family dinners when someone inadvertently reveals their obsession with collecting rubber ducks? Well, each rubber ducky represents an emotion bottled up and hidden, not unlike a cat trying to squeeze into a shoebox. Hilariously relatable but utterly absurd. We hide our secrets, often thinking they're best laid low. But as we peel back the layers, the zaniness beckons for recognition. For instance, have you ever found yourself holding onto an embarrassing childhood memory that haunts you with the same fervor as a ghost in an old mansion? You know, that time when you proudly wore your superhero cape to school, only to realize it was a dish towel tied around your neck? Beneath the surface, our minds store these pearls of wisdom wrapped in cloths of folly, and therein lies the beauty. These squishy nuggets might not have the sheen of wisdom but can offer us side-splitting laughter when shared over a glass of cough syrup-infused magic, not to mention the potential for some juicy dinner party anecdotes. By embracing our inner child's gaffes, we brandish our insecurities like confetti in a piñata party, setting the stage for authenticity to waltz in. The intricate caverns of our minds, where secrets swirl like clouds of whipped cream waiting for a cherry of realization, also serve as a portal to self-discovery. There's a quirky paradox here: the things we consciously hide often hold the keys to our unfulfilled desires. Imagine the poetic structure of a metaphorical pastry, where the outer crust represents our carefully crafted personas, while the gooey chocolatey filling brims with our innermost dreams. Those dreams may include famous aspirations to serenade David Bowie on stage, or simply trying to find balance while navigating those wobbly moments of adulthood. In stripping away the petticoats of pretension, we discover a delicious recipe of hidden thoughts, emotions, and dreams, a delightful twist in the story. Of course, let's discuss the societal norms made of gossamer and glue, those sticking points we traverse daily like tightrope walkers navigating an invisible wire. The so-called pressure to maintain appearances is just that, pressure. In pursuing an image of unfaltering perfection, don't be surprised when the first gust of wind sends you tumbling into a Mexican taco truck, wearing the remnants of your grandeur like a festive piñata. Why? Because some of the most beautiful moments manifest from the chaos beneath the surface. Those awkward stumbles can turn into a salsa dance of laughter when navigated with a healthy dose of humor. So, as I dove into the swirling depths of secrets beneath the surface, I found endless tales of hilarity just waiting to be uncovered. It's an albeit fantastical invitation to embrace the absurdity that abounds in our everyday interactions. Our quirky tales, hidden aspirations, and uncanny occurrences emit their own signature fragrance, mingling hilariously in the grand tapestry of our existence. What would happen if we let go of the facade, allowing our unique mosaics of madness to shine? The world would be an uproariously chaotic yet deeply insightful dance party where secrets no longer loom like shifty phantoms, but rather waltz around with joy like children frolicking in a field of rubber ducks. So, when you step into the world, remember, there's more to us than meets the eye. Let the secrets beneath the surface propel you into this laugh-out-loud adventure, filled with tenderness, absurdity, and unexpected revelations. Who knew that sometimes behind the mask of seriousness lay an eccentric carnival waiting to be unleashed? Echoes of Insecurity. Ah, the echoes of insecurity, a haunting symphony played on repeat like the world's most annoying alarm clock that you can never quite seem to turn off. It reverberates through the caverns of our minds, unrelenting as a parakeet that refuses to learn a new phrase. These echoes can sound like a chorus of self-doubt squeaking between the inspirational quotes plastered on your bathroom mirror. "You are enough," they chant, while simultaneously whispering, "But remember that time you tripped on air in front of your crush." It's a comedic juxtaposition worthy of a grand stage, where I, Zaliel S. Morpheus, have become both the jester and the audience wrapped in a haze of drowsy reflections. Insecurity, my dear reader, isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a ravenous beast that gnaws at your self-esteem and serves up your confidence with a side of cringe-worthy memories. Oh yes, the moment a colleague asks why you didn't bring in that casserole you intended to showcase for the potluck day becomes an instant trip down memory lane, a lane paved with the desperate attempts of junior year biology where you declared you were the next culinary wizard, only to discover that a microwave could indeed explode. The echoes of those awkward incidents linger, taunting you like specters at a Halloween party. They showcase our failures with a pinch of dramatic flair, much like a soap opera featuring an inflatable pool. We often find ourselves desperately trying to silence those echoes, donning the armor of bravado, mascara, or perhaps a bold outfit that rivals the most colorful parrot. But fear not, for just like our biological instincts leaning toward the comfort of anxious situations, seriously I mean that, these echoes can also be the sparks igniting some of our most entertaining behaviors. Consider this: why do you think so many of us have developed extraordinary creative coping mechanisms? From over-the-top humor during awkward silences to astounding interpretative dances in the kitchen while baking, and subsequently burning, scones. These echoes prompt us to transform insecurity into a comedic art form. What about the irksome habit of comparing ourselves to others, the sneaky bastard that slinks into our thoughts like a raccoon rummaging through trash? It runs us into the ultimate audience for an unsanctioned reality show where the contestants are all versions of ourselves, and spoiler alert, the competition is rigged. We find ourselves in a race where everyone seems to be winning, achieving personal and professional goals while we fumble over mismatched socks and half-baked schemes. Why can't I be more like my neighbor who effortlessly hosts dinner parties while crafting artisanal birdhouses? We lament, as the echo of insecurity rebounds loudly like a basketball on the court of our minds. But I must remind you, dear reader, that even those seemingly polished individuals have their hidden foibles. A grimace behind the facade is but a heartbeat away. Let's not shy away from the fact that insecurities even extend to social media. Yes, the endless circus of highlight reels curated by our fellow human beings. There, among the perfectly filtered snapshots and inspirational quotes, lies the panic of not living life up to the Instagram glorified standard. 1 minute, one's gorging on pizza while binge-watching conspiracy theory documentaries, and the next, you're scrolling through the pictures of perfect bodies and visualizing your own reflection as a deflated beach ball. The irony rests not just in the insecurity, it's how we manage to trivialize these echoes with wit and humor. Yes, I may resemble a marshmallow during my Netflix binge, but by golly, I can still make the best sandwich on this side of the couch. Yet, as we unravel these echoes, we come to realize the important truth: they can serve as windows into our growth. When we encounter those nagging voices, we can choose to cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves, peeling back the layers of doubt. With full acknowledgement of the absurdity that accompanies comparison, we can transform awkwardness into an art form, discomfort into clever punchlines. The more we give a spotlight to these insecurities, the less power they have over us. So, my delightful participants in the satirical journey, let us embrace the echoes of insecurity as the absurdities they are. Let us wield them like brightly colored juggling pins in a circus filled with clowns and rubber chickens, revealing the hilarity of our shared humanity. No longer will we cower in the shadows of unfiltered self-doubt but stand bold and loud beneath the spotlight, fully aware that alongside the echoes of insecurity lies the strength of authenticity, laughter, and the dazzling absurdity called life. The paradox of self-perception. It's like a contestant on a reality show where the audience members are armed with both roses and tomatoes, debating while munching on popcorn whether to elevate or utterly ridicule you. I invite you to take a front row seat to this fantastical dilemma, whereby we, as masterful artists, paint our identities on the even broader canvas of existence with a palette of vibrant colors and, at times, some very questionable paint choices. You know that one shade you picked after 2 cups of cough syrup? Yeah, that's the hue of your somewhat biased perspective. Let's kick off with the most peculiar aspect of self-perception. It seems forever stuck between the distorted funhouse mirror and the photo filter that promises flawless skin. On one hand, we walk through life like a Picasso painting, full of quirky angels and sporadic drips, forever wondering just how the heck we got that one eye-level view of existence that seems so vastly different from our partners, who swears you've got it all wrong. How is it that I see myself as a misunderstood genius, a veritable Mozart of witticism, while the person across the dinner table thinks I'm the human equivalent of a soggy pizza? Cue the laughter here, because in this reality show directed by our minds, the twists and turns are endless. Let's not forget the trap we often set for ourselves in the never-ending game of comparison. Ah yes, there's nothing quite like scrolling through social media, gazing at seemingly perfect lives adorned with extravagant brunches, blissful wanderlust vacations, and perfectly executed yoga poses. There you are in stark contrast, attempting to execute a downward dog while wearing a sweat-stained shirt and battling an expected rap battle with a potted plant. Hey, that plant has its life together, the inner critic scoffs, while you fend off visions of being the next internet meme. The paradox is that our perception of reality often relies on curated images, yet here we are, parodying ourselves like comedic clowns fighting for attention. So, who is the real fool of the court? Us or our social media portals? As we navigate through the rippling waters of self-perception, we confront a question as prickly as an angry porcupine: are we merely protagonists in our own story, or are we juggling roles written by outside influences? Here's the kicker: according to human psychology, our self-perception is deeply shaped by others' opinions. A child in a classroom may perceive their artistic efforts as genius, only to be stung by a single derisive remark about their rainbow zebra drawing. Suddenly, they are poking around for self-validation in a crowded auditorium and, akin to a comedic balloon animal, can deflate in mere moments. Thus, we are left dancing delicately at the intersection of personal identity and external pressures, always striving to reclaim that vivid picture adorned with glitter. Let's have a moment of levity, shall we? Imagine the absurdity of a talent show where participants strut their self-perceptions on stage like contestants showcasing their bizarre abilities. And for my next act, I'll show you how to transform body anxiety into interpretative dance while oscillating awkwardly to elevator music. It would sound ludicrous, and yet how relatable. We delight in representing ourselves while slipping on banana peels of self-doubt. This never-ending comedy film plays endlessly before us, and somewhere along that roller coaster ride of identity, we find that our uniqueness and quirks can shine like confetti caught in the sunlight, resting equally alongside our reluctance to fully embrace our own brilliance. But what of the joy of embracing this paradox? When we acknowledge that our self-perception evolves, subject to time, experience, and a whole trove of silly mistakes, we realize this amusing odyssey is less about seeking perfection and more about integrating every delightful misshapen piece of ourselves into an eclectic masterpiece. Through the journey rife with oddities, we craft our self-narrative that can evoke both laughter and bewilderment. After all, who doesn't love the sight of someone dancing like no one is watching while indulging in a hefty slice of cake? So as we roll around in the paradox of self-perception, let us do it with gusto and good humor. We are not clumsy caricature or overly polished statues, we're fluid, unique silhouettes navigating a world cluttered with contradictions. Each one of us bears the mark of absurdity, grounded in the universally relatable experience of trying to figure out who the heck we really are. Now that's a journey best taken with a twinkle in the eye and a hearty laugh, because at the end of the day, my friends, it's all part of the beautiful chaos called life. Illusions of control. A grand charade that we as humans perform daily, dressing ourselves up in the illusion that we have our lives meticulously choreographed like an elaborate Broadway revival. The truth? We're more like a ragtag band of amateur jugglers, desperately trying to keep a dozen flaming torches in the air while slipping on banana peels and dodging flying rubber chickens. I invite you to sit back and revel in the absurdity of life's chaos as we explore the wild terrain of these supposed controls we think we wield. First, let's talk about the planning. Ah, sweet, sweet planning, the faux comfort of creating color-coded schedules that would make Marie Kondo applaud while simultaneously throwing a raging fiesta in the corner. We sit down with highlighters and artisanal notebooks, convinced that by scripting our days to the minute, we can bypass any unruly surprise that life has in store. At 9 a.m., I shall conquer the world, we declare through our steaming mugs of coffee, completely oblivious to the fact that by 9:05 a.m., whoops, we've already spilled coffee on our favorite pants that are white. So much for the perfectly orchestrated day. Instead of a performance ball, we're left to scuttle about like startled cockroaches whenever the light flicks on. Let's not overlook the crown jewel of this illusion, the fantasy that we can manage other people's emotions as if we're the righteous captains navigating through lush waters of social interactions, all with a healthy dose of overinflated confidence. We think our wise works can soothe a friend's heart or shape the fate of a critical meeting. Enter the awkward silence at family gatherings where everyone's eyes glaze over like donut icing when we dive into the topic of Dungeons and Dragons, the emotional tidal waves crashing all around us, leaving us grasping for control with all the finesse of a toddler trying to wield a chainsaw. It turns out that our so-called expert powers don't quite work outside the real of our own reality. Oh, and how could I forget about the addictive sense of control we try to exert over the realm of technology? Enter the world of social media, where we curate our lives to make them appear as glossy and dreamlike as an influencer prancing through a field of sunflowers. All those hashtags, filters, and posts scream to the universe, look at me. I've conquered the art of living. Meanwhile, within the hallowed halls of our minds, the dreaded comparison syndrome lurks waiting to remind us that while we may seem unable to tame the maverick of life, our neighbors just posted their latest vacation photos, showcasing an idyllic lifestyle we can only dream of. So much for control. We're left to wallow in a digital swamp, trapped between bubbles of joy and intermittent selfies. But let's face it, cherishing control often blinds us the real beauty that surrounds us, the delights of spontaneity and serendipity. Picture this, a Sunday afternoon stroll turning into a spontaneous ice cream tasting tour, where the only plans are to see where our whims take us. Suddenly, life transforms itself from a choreographed dance into an exhilarating roller coaster ride. Let's not kid ourselves, this is where the magic happens. The possibility of joy emerges through clumsy mishaps and unpredictable adventures, much life when you attempt to impress your friends with gourmet cooking only to serve mildly charred lasagna that you somehow set on fire. This dance with unpredictability reveals that life's chaos is indeed a wickedly funny performance. Now, for a gentle reminder, control isn't inherently evil, it's the pressure we place on ourselves to maintain this facade of perfection that can lead to comedic disasters. Life is a raucous tale of balance that we undertake on a teeter-totter made with bungee cords. We can choose to enjoy the ride or fall flat on our faces while laughing like hyenas. The sooner we recognize that relinquishing control can spike our spontaneity to higher altitudes, the sooner we can step off the place of pristine order into the realm of delightful chaos. So let's embrace the illusions of control for the entertaining performance they truly are, my friends. Let us revel in the laughter they bring, recognizing that life's tangled mess of unpredictability offers us some of the best stories to tell. Here's to untidy schedules, fluffed opportunities, and moments that turn out far grander than any meticulous plan we could conjure. After all, in the grand theater of existence, it's the unexpected plot twists that will leave us sprawling in sticks on the floor. And isn't that what it's all about? A glorious rom-com filled with devilishly funny surprises to wacky antics that keep us rolling with laughter.